Welcome to our annual general meeting for 2019. I've trusted you'd enjoyed the Red Meat 2019, where we've been showcasing some of the investments we've made on all levy payers' behalf to grow industry prosperity. The producer tours, the forums, the industry breakfast, the MLA showcase, all of these, I hope, serve to demonstrate our investment in research, development and marketing on your behalf. I'd like to spend a few minutes reflecting on the environment our industry has operated in the last 12 months. Let me start with the cattle market. There are few producers in Australia who have escaped the devastating effects of nature this year. Between drought, bushfires and the devastating floods in North Queensland, the cattle sector has faced it all. The widespread drought has limited feed availability and caused severe stock water shortages. The challenging conditions have seen many producers destock or significantly reduce their breeding herds. This has been reflected in the national herd, which is estimated to have contracted by 7% in 2019 to 26 million head. Prices for finished cattle have improved this year, supported by strong demand from Australia's key international markets and the low Australian dollar. Young cattle prices have been subdued due to limited restocker interest as conditions deteriorate. On the trade front, there's never been so much beef moving around the global market, and this beef is increasingly being directed into Asian markets, a region where Australia has traditionally maintained a leading position. Part of the pivot to Asia is a strong return of the US beef into Japan, Korea, and leading other forms of competition for Australian beef in this region. At the same time, South American suppliers have increasingly switched their focus to Asia, particularly the Chinese market. In spite of the extra competition, Australian exports are at historical high. In the 9 months to September, exports tracking nearly 5% higher than the 5-year average. China in particular has been a driving force, with the market poised to challenge Japan as Australia's largest beef export market in 2019. So let's now turn to the sheep and lamb markets. The majority of Australian sheep producers are still managing heavily depleted breeding flocks and heightened feed costs as severe drought conditions remain. However, there are pockets of the industry who have enjoyed a better season, particularly in some parts of southern Australia and southwest Victoria. The overwhelming drought conditions, though, have hit the national flock in 2019. This year, MLA estimates the flock will reach 66 million head, a decline of 6.5% year on year, driven by high sheep slaughter, poor joining rates and lambing rates. Demand for Australian sheep meat from China and the US in particular have been exceptionally strong in 2019, supported by a depreciating Australian dollar and tightening supplies from New Zealand. The strong international demand has helped underpin record lamb and mutton prices and provides the platform for many producers to rebuild their flocks when conditions improve. The National Sale Yard Trade Indicator powered through 900 cents per kilo at the beginning of July and ultimately reached a peak of 950 cents per kilo, 9% above the highest achieved in September 2018. Now to the goat market. In the goat market, suppliers have continued to contract this year as the persistent poor seasonal conditions resulted in slaughter levels easing. With a decline in production, exports followed a similar trend, falling across all major goat meat markets. Declining production saw over-the-hook goat prices surge to record levels, with international markets competing fiercely for a limited supply of Australian goat meat. I'd like to share with you some of the issues that your board has discussed and decided over the last year. With 2020 being the final year of MLA's current strategic plan, the board's key focus throughout this past financial year has ensured MLA has delivered on that plan. This also includes activities that are funded through the MLA donor company, through the MLA subsidiary, Integrity Systems Company. MLA Donor Company is a funding vehicle that matches processor levies and commercial investments from external companies with Australian government funding. The MDC facilitates this funding to add value along the entire red meat supply chain and helps accelerate innovation for our industry. Dexter is one of the high-profile innovations that's been funded through the donor company, and the implementation of this project continued in the past year. The Integrity Systems Company is also to continue to contribute to the Australian meat and livestock industries, positioning us as a global leader, ensuring traceability of our red meat products. In the last year, the boards approved the Integrity Systems 2025 strategy. This strategy was developed by the Integrity Systems Company in collaboration with industry, government and others to outline the vision, strategic direction, objectives and success factors for the red meat industry's future integrity systems. The strategy aims to leverage technology information and closer value chain connections to deliver a seamless, trusted, highly valued integrity system. This will ensure our integrity system remains recognised and trusted globally as underpinned by a quality product produces rigorous standards. This year, the boards also invested in time and effort in the appointment of our new Managing Director following Richard Norton's departure in December 2018. The board was looking for someone with extensive knowledge, experience and connections within our red meat industry, from the farm through to the consumer. We were looking for someone with commercial and business administration skills, a proven track record in building strong teams and developing business opportunities in a number of key markets and competitive environments. We wanted someone who could inspire and continue to lead our strong and high-performing team within MLA. Jason was the standout candidate and the board was thrilled to have him join us in April 2019 as both Managing Director and CEO. At last year's annual meeting, members voted on the election for the first time, members voted on the elections of 2 first-time directors to the skills-based board. These directors are Professor Manny Noakes, a nutrition and health expert, and Joe Pye, an expert in customer engagement, marketing and strategy. Both Manny and Joe have provided invaluable insights and input into the board meetings throughout the year. This AGM will be my last as MLA's chair. I've served on the MLA board for 8 years, and last night at our social function, I reflected on the conditions in our industry, both the lowlights and the highlights, and how MLA has changed. But now I'd like to recognise my colleagues, my fellow board directors. They're all leaders in their own fields. They have a diverse skill set and experience spanning cattle, sheep, both cattle and sheep production, technology, rural consulting, corporate services, nutrition, marketing and consumer insight. This means our board discussions consider everything from all points of view across the supply chain. This is really why you have a skills-based board, and our board is a very collegiate, hard-working board for levy payers. I'd also like to thank management and staff for their support not only during this year, but in all my 8 years of the board, and especially my trusty company secretary, who supported me through some interesting times, both internally and externally in the organisation. Thank you, Claire. I'm proud of this industry, and I'm privileged to have served you for the last 8 years. You are now in secure hands. Allan Beckett will take over as chair at the end of this MLA AGM. I know the board will continue to ensure that MLA's investments in research, marketing and development will make a difference to red meat producers right across Australia, so you in turn deliver the best red meat in the world. Thank you all for your support, and thank you for coming to the AGM.